veteran and mother of two is charged with attempted murder. She's accused of trying to terminate her pregnancy with an abortion pill in Georgia. Scripps News national correspondent Katia Tubman has been following this story. She joins me now live from New York. So, Katia, this is the first person to be charged with murder under the state's restrictive abortion law. What's the latest?
That's right, Andrew. It's a case that could test Georgia's strict abortion ban. Police in Georgia say 31-year-old Alexia Moore, a mother of two and a U.S. Army veteran, as you mentioned, has been charged with attempted murder after what police say was her attempt to induce an abortion. Now, we obtained, Scripps News, the police report, and it says that she was also charged with possession of a controlled substance and a dangerous drug. Moore took the pregnancy-terminating medication, misoprostol, and she did so in late December around New Year's, according to the report. She also got the medication online, but also took oxycodone, according to the police. Now, after experiencing severe pain, that's when she was rushed to the hospital, and it was there that doctors ended up delivering a severely premature infant who had trouble breathing and died shortly after birth, according to the police report. We also obtained court documents, and that showed us that police concluded from medical staff that the baby appeared to be in its second trimester. Now, arrest documents put Moore at 22 to 24 weeks pregnant, far past her state's abortion ban of 6 weeks, and that's a big deal because, as you likely recall, in Georgia, once embryonic cardiac activity or heartbeat is detected, a pregnancy cannot be terminated. However, medical experts have repeatedly stated that 6 weeks is before many women even know they're pregnant, and so legal experts and advocates have been warning long time now that Georgia's 6-week ban could eventually lead to something like this situation where there are murder charges. And it's unclear if Moore knew how long she'd been pregnant before she took the medication. Andrew?
And Katia, you mentioned Georgia's abortion ban. How could this impact the case?
That's right. If state prosecutors pursue the murder charge, this would be the first case of a woman facing such charges for terminating her own pregnancy under Georgia's abortion ban. And I spoke with Quajalyn Jackson, who is the executive director at the Feminist Health Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And I asked about how this ban could impact this case. And she told me she hopes that prosecutors understand the limits of the law, because so far we've seen enforcement largely target healthcare providers and not pregnant people. Here's what she told me about abortion bans like Georgia's.
Their intentions are to not just limit, but completely eliminate people's ability to make their own reproductive decisions. And so while we understand the limits of the 6-week ban, as it is written currently, on how providers can move, how providers can provide care, there's currently nothing written in the 6-week ban that criminalizes the pregnant person. So we have to be very careful about how we, again, sort of test and stretch the interpretations of law.
Now, this law will certainly be tested, Andrew. Those interpretations will remain to be seen, of course. We've reached out to the prosecutors and public defenders in Georgia to learn more about the charges in that county. But we'll be following, of course, this case as the hearing is set and scheduled for Monday. And Moore is currently being held in a local county jail without bond. Andrew?
All right, Scripps News national correspondent Katia Tubman for us. Katia, thank you.
According to Kingsland Police, in this case, a woman gave birth to a baby that lived for about an hour. According to the arrest report, 31-year-old Alexia Moore took 200 milligrams of misoprostol, which is a drug used to have an abortion. The report says Moore took it before she was transported to Southeast Georgia Health System Hospital in Camden County. The arrest report states she gave birth to a girl and the infant was, quote, premature and having major health issues. The report says Moore wanted to leave the hospital after she attempted to abort the child herself. This was in December. She was arrested last week and charged with murder.
No one should be criminalized for ending their own pregnancy.
Florida State Representative Anna Escamani used to work for Planned Parenthood. She says banning abortions is not the answer.
Banning abortion does not actually end abortion. And though abortion medication is overwhelmingly safe, it's a lot safer if you can take it with the guidance of a medical professional.
Now, Moore is in jail without the option for bond. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how.
So, Georgia's Life Act has put another black woman in a predicament, and I'm not even sure if they're reaching the target audience that this act was even created for. So, 31-year-old Alexa Moore is currently being held without bond because they say she murdered her child. Now, December 30th, 2025, she actually went to the hospital. She went to Southeast Georgia Health System Camden location, and at the time she was, complaining of pain and things of that sort. She was not giving them very much information. They ended up going to find one of her friends who was at the hospital with her, and that is really how they got most of their information that they are using against her. Now, the way they tell the story is that she had recently given birth, and it was under suspicious circumstances, so they reached out to authorities to let authorities know they had a woman who had given birth under suspicious circumstances, and they were not sure about the situation, and so they wanted them to come in to evaluate the situation. When authorities get to the hospital, they speak to a security guard who has given them that information. They go from there and end up speaking to her and then her friend who was there to assist her with getting to the hospital safe. Now, the way they tell the story is that she had given birth to an infant female, and that the infant female was not expected to survive as she was born premature and having respiratory issues. Now, they say she took a prescription that is known to cause abortions. She took 200 milligrams of it. She had a pill bottle of the prescription with her name on it that she had delivered to her through the mail, and she had took some additional pain medication because she knew she was going to be in pain from the situation. So they are saying that she forced an abortion to happen, and they are calling that murder. Now, I found one article that said that the infant was 5.5 months along. Some other stuff says they do not know how far along she was in her pregnancy to determine, if she was really violating any of the laws in Georgia, things of that sort. So how far along she actually was, I'm not 100% sure, because it does not seem that they're providing accurate information on how far along she was. Now, again, this did happen at the end of 2025. It is all the way in March of 2026. She was arrested on March 6th of this year, charged with murder and 2 counts of possession of illegal substances, those things. They charged her with that. So she is currently being held without bond because they are stating that she committed murder by forcing an abortion to take place because she did not want to have another child and bring another child into this world, probably one she couldn't even doggone afford. And Georgia wasn't going to be doing nothing to help her take care of said child. Now, when they give a better and more accurate time frame of how far along she was when she went to the hospital, I'll probably have a better understanding how I really feel about it. But at this point, the issues we've had with Georgia and their life acts with Adriana Smith, they already got a nasty taste in my mouth, period. But until then, I won't have a full decision on how I feel about this. But I'm very much so questioning Georgia because they've been playing with the shenanigans, and that is clearly their energy that they've been on for a hot minute now.
Oh my God, what is going on? A 31-year-old woman from Georgia was arrested and charged with murder and attempt to give herself an abortion before giving birth, resulting in the death of the baby. Apparently, this woman did not want to keep her baby, but she decided to take means in her own hands. Check this out.
Local woman charged with murder. It's after police say she took abortion pills, gave birth, and the baby died. I'm Ben Becker.
I'm Tanika Hughes. She was arrested by Kingsland police last week. Action News Jack's Madison Foglio spoke with legal experts about how a case like this could play out.
Georgia has one of the most restrictive abortion laws in the country. The Life Act essentially deems a person alive once they have a detectable heartbeat, even before birth. But according to Kingsland police, in this case, a woman gave birth to a baby that lived for about an hour. According to the arrest report, 31-year-old Alexia Moore took 200 milligrams of misoprostol, which is a drug used to have an abortion. The report says Moore took it before she was transported to Southeast Georgia Health System Hospital in Camden County. The arrest report states she gave birth to a girl and the infant was, quote, premature and having major health issues. The report says Moore wanted to leave the hospital after she attempted to abort the child herself. This was in December. She was arrested last week and charged with murder.
In order for someone to be charged in murder, in a sense, the elements are something was done intentionally, a criminal act, which then resulted in a human losing their life.
Chris Carson is a criminal defense attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. I asked him what factors would be considered for these charges.
For the most part, what the legal analysis will be looking to is whether the fetus is considered to be a human and whether there was an act that was done which then resulted in the death of that human.
No one should be criminalized for ending their own pregnancy.
Florida State Representative Anna Escamani used to work for Planned Parenthood. She says banning abortions is not the answer.
Banning abortion does not actually end abortion. And though abortion medication is overwhelmingly safe, it's a lot safer if you can take it with the guidance of a medical professional.
Now, Moore is in jail without the option for bond. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how far along she was in her pregnancy when this all went down. I also reached out to Attorney General Chris Carr's office, and I asked whether or not this is the first woman charged for murder for taking any abortion medication. I'm still waiting to hear back. For local coverage you can count on, I'm Madison Foglio, Action News Jax.
So after doing a little research on Google, pretty much by law, your pregnancy, like your baby, is considered a human after 5.5 months. Additionally, when it comes to being a premature baby, you're considered a premature baby when you are born before 8.5 months. So it's safe to say that this woman could have been between 5.5 and 8.5 months pregnant when this happened. This happened back in December of 2025, but they just arrested her pretty much March 6th, and they charged her with murder. This is insane. What do you guys think about this story?
A black woman in Georgia is sitting in jail, charged with murder and held without bond, all because she took medication to end her own pregnancy. Here's what went down. 31-year-old Alexia Moore took abortion medication in December 2025 and later went to a hospital in Camden County after having complications. Now, police claim that she, quote, gave birth to a premature child with major health issues, end quote. But this phrasing should be side-eyed for a couple reasons. More on that later. Now, despite this incident happening in December 2025, police arrested her in March 2026. Her specific charges include murder, possession of dangerous drugs, and possession of a Schedule II controlled substance. And if convicted, she faces life in prison, possibly without parole. Now, remember how I told you the whole giving birth language the police use should probably be side-eyed? Well, it's because of how the state of Georgia classifies what a baby even is. According to Georgia's total abortion ban, a fetus is a person. This thing right here is a person in the state of Georgia. And no, they don't qualify for any aid, even though the state has limited aid options available anyway. But they classify fetuses like this, so in the event that someone decides to end a pregnancy, that person can be charged with murder. Now, because according to the state's own laws, abortion is murder. So now a woman who went to the hospital to seek medical attention after making a personal healthcare decision is now being held without bond and facing life in prison. Because at the end of the day, banning abortion don't stop abortion. It just pushes more people to get unsafe abortions, and it criminalizes people for making personal and private healthcare decisions for themselves. And this is not the first time someone has caught a charge like this either. Since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, researchers documented 210 similar criminal cases in just the first year of the Dobbs decision alone. Free Alexia Moore, because copping abortion is not a crime.
This case is very hard to prove malice murder because the police was trying to word their warrant by the heartbeat law in Georgia. On December 29th, in Kingsland, Georgia, 31-year-old Alexa Moore took 200 milligrams of Miserpol, and she took oxycodone. On December 30th, she went to the hospital in Camden County because she was complaining of abdominal pain. So while she was in the ER, she gave birth to a baby girl. Okay, so when she gave birth to the baby girl in the ER, she survived for about an hour, but she was having respiratory issues. So Alexa was around, they say, 22 to 24 weeks when she gave birth, live birth to this girl. Alexa thinks that she was around the 14th week mark. So the hospital drew blood from this baby and found out she tested positive for oxycodone. So the hospital told police that Alexa said this to them, that her baby is suffering because of her taking the abortion pills, and she wanted the baby to die. Alexa admitted to police that she obtained the Mistral, let me say that word, pills through a website called Access Aid and the oxycodone from a family member. Alexa was arrested on March 4th and taken to the Coastal County Jail, where she is being charged with murder and 2 charges of drug possession. They call it like Schedule 2. I guess that's like a hard drug. So yeah, this is very, very telling that they're trying to make examples of people in Georgia due to this law. Now, we don't know how many other people are affected by this law, but this is why a lot of pregnant people are scared, because now you can have a miscarriage and be charged with murder. I think that's really sad, and it's really scary. And now I'm seeing why a lot of people are not getting pregnant at this point because of laws like this. But hell, what do I know? They wanted a big population. They want more babies. But if you're telling women you're going to jail because your baby's heart stopped beating in the uterus and it's be after 6 weeks, you're being charged with murder, right? And it's like you have to go somewhere in another state just to take an abortion pill if you don't want the baby. I'm just a talking head.
This should scare the hell out of everyone. A 31-year-old woman in Georgia went to the hospital after a pregnancy emergency. Instead of just treating her, the hospital called the police. Now that woman has been arrested and charged with murder for allegedly taking abortion medication. Let me be very clear about something. Abortion is legal in Georgia up to 6 weeks. And under Georgia's law, patients who receive abortion care are not supposed to be criminally charged. The law explicitly says that. So what's happening here? They're trying to work around the law to punish patients anyways. And this is exactly what we warned about would happen after Roe v. Wade got overturned. When abortion is criminalized, pregnancy outcomes start being treated like crime scenes. Someone has a miscarriage, somebody has a stillbirth, somebody goes to the hospital during a pregnancy complication, and suddenly law enforcement is involved. Think about how dangerous that is. A patient goes to the hospital for medical care and ends up being under investigation for murder. That does not protect anybody. It simply sends a message to pregnant people that getting medical help could potentially get you arrested. And if that becomes normalized, every single pregnancy becomes a potential criminal case.
All right, y'all. So we have an update on the Georgia woman that has been charged with murder for taking abortion pills. I told you guys about this last week, that she was arrested and charged back in March for allegedly taking abortion pills back in December. Well, the judge set $1 bond yesterday for her. Let's talk about it. So as previously reported, back in December of 2025, 31-year-old Alexia Moore went to a hospital in Kingsland, Georgia, and said that she had abdominal pain, and told medical staff that she had taken some abortion pills and also some oxycodone. Authorities said that medical records estimated that Alexia was between 22 to 24 weeks pregnant, and investigators say that the fetus survived for about an hour after the delivery at the hospital. In the court documents, officers alleged that Alexia told them that she's responsible for this because she wanted her baby to die. That's alleged by the officers. So she was arrested and charged back in March by the police department using that fetal heartbeat law in Georgia, which says that you cannot have an abortion once a heartbeat is detected. So she's been in custody since March 4th, and on Monday she had a bond hearing, and the judge said that he thought that the charge is extremely problematic. He says he has concerns that the state would ever be able to secure a conviction of malice murder. So he gave her a $1 bond for the murder charge and a $1,000 bond for each of the 2 drug-related charges. So the district attorney was in court and did not object to the bond, and he told the judge that the police did not consult his office before filing the charges. So under Georgia law, Alexia will still need to be indicted by a grand jury before the murder charge can move forward. So Alexia's attorney with the public defender's office released a statement saying that the decision is a reminder that justice is not served by the accusation alone. Our system works best when the courts carefully weigh the facts, uphold constitutional protections, and safeguard the rights of every person who comes before them. So Alexia did bond out on yesterday. Now, when I previously reported on this, I did not know it was not in the charging documents exactly how far along officers were alleging that she was. Now, according to the new court records, they say that she was between 22 to 24 weeks when this occurred. Remember, in Georgia, they have that law that says that you cannot get an abortion in no way, shape, form, or fashion once a heartbeat is detected, and that's usually around 6 weeks. So the next step would be, if the district attorney decides to present to a grand jury for the malice murder, will he lower the charge or will he pursue the charges at all? I'll keep you guys updated. This is Double D Mo for the Black Street News. Put your thoughts. Let me know what you think.
A $1 bond for murder sounds like a message to me. I could be wrong, but it sounds like a very clear message, okay? Now, I told y'all about Alexia Moore, who's 31 years old, out of Georgia a couple of days ago, because they have accused her of taking a pill to abort her baby, and they said it was murder. They also gave her charges for the item that they say she took to make her have a early abortion, and to also, deal with the pain of the situation because she knew she was going to be in pain. So they gave her 3 charges for that. Now, do not in any way, shape, or form misunderstand what the purpose of bond is. The purpose of bond is to make sure that you show up for court, okay? That is the only purpose for bond. For a $1 amount for murder, that does send a message, okay? Because the other 2 charges that she got, they were $1,000 each for bond, and so her total amount was $2,001 for bond for the 3 charges that she's got. So she saw the judge yesterday. The judge set that amount, and she was able to go ahead and get bonded out. Now, the DA, Keith Higgins, said that they did not discuss that amount with him before they went to court, but he did not do any objecting to that actual amount. But that will still have to go in front of a grand jury to see if they can move forward with really proceeding with, the charges that they placed on her, as to see if a jury is, kind of going to agree that what they've charged her with is appropriate. And in my last video about her, I did make the statement that they have not really said how, far along she was as far as, when this took place, because it did happen back in December, and she was arrested at the beginning of March. And people were in my comments like, well, they said she was 22 to 24 weeks. Again, first of all, my video was up before it was even really being talked about, so it was not documented in multiple places at that time. But again, very clearly, let it be known, I do not believe Georgia. Point blank, end of period. I'm not. If you believe in it and everything you hear, that is great for you. I'm not you. I speak only for me. I will be waiting until there's more information to confirm how far along she is. So if you are gullible, that's on you, love. I'm not you. But I'm not going to believe everything they say, because history has proven otherwise. If you're new to it, I'm not. It's documented. If you need to be added to a video, always available. Always better be petty, just like this judge was, because $1 for a murder is petty. So if you need me to be petty and tag you in a video that discusses their mess, not a problem. But yeah, I'm not just gonna be believing anything that people say, especially when they're putting a murder charge on someone for abortion that we don't have no full proof that she really aborted. I need more information than that. I don't have to believe everything just because somebody said that. Point blank, end of period. Let me be clear. If you are waiting on additional information because you don't trust Georgia, please let me know how you feel about this $1 bond amount. Like-minded individuals.
Okay, y'all. There has been an update in the case. So, as you guys know, 31-year-old Alexia Moore is being charged with murder for taking pills to off the child. Okay, so Monday, March 23rd, a Georgia judge grants Alexa a $1 bond for the murder charge and $1,000 each for the 2 drug charges. By this time, Alexa has been in jail for 3 weeks, you guys. 3 weeks. The judge said that this is going to be hard charge to convict on. Then the district attorney, Keith Higgins, told the judge that the police did not consult his office before bringing the charges against Alexa could go to trial. Keith would need to obtain an indictment from a grand jury to take her to face murder charges in a trial. You guys, this is crazy. But at least she got that bond for $1 because it's like the judge said, you cannot really prove that this is malice murder. You can't prove it. And you can't just go off of accusations. Man. So Alexa, she posted bond on Monday, so she's free. So thank God, because nobody should be going to jail for having an abortion. Nobody should. But this is what it's coming to. And women who are deciding to get pregnant, we have to watch out as women. We have to. Because they're really trying to make examples of women who do these things. And she's not the first lady to be indicted on murder charges. There was another lady a few months ago in Kentucky who got charged with murder because she had gotten the same pills and aborted her child. This is sad. It's sad what the world's coming to. You want more people, but you're making it hard for women to have more people. But hell, what do I know? I'm just a talking head.
The world is watching as this mother may be going through the worst part of her life. This is a Georgia mother charged with murder in her abortion case. Well, yesterday, she went before a judge to have her bond set. And you know what her bond was set at? $1. $1 for that murder charge. So you can tell where this case is going. Alexa Moore is facing other charges. Bond was set for those charges, drug-related, at around $2,000. But the DA, during the court hearing, dropped a bombshell, saying that the police department brought the charges without their support, but they're not ready to drop the charges yet. You may have heard about this case, but here's what police say happened. That Alexia Moore took an abortion pill and also some Oxy. She got sick, went to the ER. They say authorities, this is how they worded in court documents, that the fetus survived about 1 hour after delivery and that authorities say she was 22 to 24 weeks pregnant. But this is who Alexia Moore is. She's 31 years old. She's also the mother of 2 small children and a U.S. Army vet. Apparently, she was on 100% disability. This is according to reporting after being diagnosed with PTSD. But her case is not as unique as you may think. The charges, yes. The charges are rare, but the circumstances are not.
60% of women who seek abortions are already mothers.
A Georgia mom was given a $1 bond for a murder charge. When she admitted herself to the hospital after experiencing stomach cramps, and they found out that she took 2 abortion pills to abort her child. This happened in Kingsland, Georgia, when a judge granted her a $1 bond for a murder charge faced by a woman accused by police of taking pills to induce an illegal abortion. She was given a $1,000 bond for each of the 2 drug charges. So the court records show that she arrived December 30th complaining at the hospital of abdominal pain. She told the medical workers that she had taken an abortion pill and an opioid painkiller. Now, the thing is that she was pregnant. She was about 22 to 24 weeks along, which is way past the limit that is legal in Georgia for an abortion to be legal, even though women typically find out that they're pregnant right around 6 to 8 weeks. Now, this may end up going to trial, and she may end up being charged for the murder of her fetus, which had an actual heartbeat and was struggling to breathe when she gave birth to the fetus, which the fetus lived for about an hour.